Hi, so this is the part 2 of chapter 52, talking about ecology, and more specifically within ecology, we're talking about biosphere. So now we're talking about this slide, it's basically talking about how the airflow towards a mountain range and how that is going to affect on the rainfall. So first you can see the airflow coming from the ocean right here. And then this cool air that coming towards inland, they actually have a lot of water because it just came from the ocean. And it's been collecting a lot of moisture and collecting a lot of water. And it's not too cold or too hot. Okay, so it's a moderate temperature. But once it comes towards the mountain right here, it gets come up here more and more and more and more and more. And because when the air hits the mountain, it's trying to flow upward like this, going up, and with the higher altitude it actually starts to cool down. Once it starts to cool down, it will actually release rainfall. Okay, so around this area there's going to be most rain, and then once the air flow through the mountain range, once I come to the right hand side, the right hand side of this picture, it actually doesn't have much moist left over. And then once it go through here, because on top it's kind of cold, so the temperature start cooling down, and then it gets heat up, and heat up more. But this side of it will not have a lot of rainfall, which create more like a desert weather. So on the left hand side you have more like the green patch. You can see right here it has some mini landfill for some kind of crops, and then right here you have the rain. Once it hits the mountain range and past the mountain range, because the airflow continues to flow because it flows through the mountain range, but no longer has the moist content that it originally had. So there's gonna be less rainfall and it's gonna be more like a desert. So this is kind of a picture that shows like one side of the canyon is much browner than the other side, which is much greener. The question is which side of canyon has more plants and why. So as you can see, this one has more plants, this one has less, and it will be up to you guys to tell me why. So think about this and then tell me why. Probably you'll put it on the package, or probably not. So think about it. It's about airflow, just a hint. So next, biomes. So biomes are major types of ecosystem that occupies very broad geographic region. So you can see right here we have like 10 different biomes. This graph shows you 10 different biomes, and then according to different region we actually gonna go more in depth and talk about different types of biomes that we will be seeing that are most common. Next one, climate and elevation determine biomes. So climate, as we talk about long-term weather condition, and then elevation. Elevation talks about temperature, and then sometimes, as you can see on the left-hand side, the water. We will be talking about some marine and freshwater biomes as well. Climograph. Okay, so this is a graph basically talking about, one side of the graph, the vertical side, is talking about the temperature, and the horizontal side it's talking about the annual average rainfall amount. Okay, and then you can see because it's scientific, so we're gonna use Celsius as a degree and centimeter as the measure of how much the rainfall. And then you can see these picture and these regions of graph, like rounded circle, not circle, rounded graph. It's represent different kind of biomes. So this one, tropical forest, temperate grassland, desert, and you have temperate broadleaf forest, northern coniferous forest, and then you have the Arctic and tundra right here. So, first thing first, we're gonna talk about tropical forest. And there are actually two type of tropical forests. Well, they're kind of often ignored, but since we're talking about different biomes right here, we can definitely not ignore the tropical forest. Two different types. So there are the tropical rainforest, which is most known, and the tropical dry forest. Tropical rainforest rains a lot, well, hence the name. So it's about 200 to 400 centimeter annually. So if you think about that, it would be, I would say, about 150-inch around there. That's the lower end. And I would say double that, so almost 300-inch on the upper end. Annually, that's how much rain it gets. And tropical dry forest is about half of that. So about 70 something, 78, almost 80-inch annually to about 160 annually. And tropical dry forests actually have about 6 to 7 months of dry seasons, though not raining. Around here, the temperatures are around 25 to 29 Celsius, so it's not too hot nor too cold. And you have a lot of different kind of leaves that are usually multiple. You'll see like canopy of trees, so you can see like there's one layer all the way on top, and there's a layer underneath, and you can see the much lower, closer to the ground, and there's another layer. So that's kind of like a characteristic of a tropical forest. And then let's go to the next one, desert. So desert will occur usually beneath the 30-degree north and 30-degree south latitude, so around here and here. Okay, so it will occur around this region, and well, I think most of you know what desert looks like. If you haven't, just Google Map or Google Earth, type in desert or something like that. So Gobi Desert, it's one of the most famous one. So you will see not much plants growing here, and they're much shorter compared to tropical forest. Tropical forest has usually much taller plants. This one are much shorter, and you can see there are not a lot of them here mainly because the temperature is high, and there's usually very very low precipitation. Okay, so it's annually about 30 centimeters per year, so very 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 low. Not a lot of water, plants doesn't like it, so not a lot of plant grows here. Okay, next one, savanna. So it's like Africa. If you guys seen Lion King, I'm not doing a commercial here, but that's basically kind of like the area that lions and giraffes and elephant lives on. Okay, so you have trees like this, you have small grassland. Okay, because the average rainfall around here, it's about 30 to 50 centimeters per year. And then there are dry season, which can last up to 8 to 9 months. Okay, the temperature around here it's around 24 to 29 Celsius. Okay, so this is savanna. And then we have chaparral. Chaparral, you can actually see this in California quite a bit, unlike the other one. You can see some of them. But chaparral, you have a moderate amount of precipitation, so you have about 30 to 50 centimeters, and then it's highly seasonal. So it's usually raining in the winter, but dry in the summers. Okay, so it's highly seasonal, so it kind of comes in seasons. Winter you got more rain, summer you got less rain, and then the temperature, it gets really cool during fall and winter, and actually spring as well. So during those three seasons, fall, winter, and spring, you get a temperature range vary from 10 degrees to 12 degrees. And then during summers, it can actually get really really hot to 30 degree, or sometimes in the daytime, the maximum temperature can even go up to 40 degree. And the next one, temperate grassland. And this one's much less, at least in California. You also have a rain season that's very highly seasonal. So you have usually slightly dry winter and then much wetter summer, and then you have about the rainfall, average rainfall is around 30 centimeter to 100 centimeter, and then sometimes you get just this periodic drought. It's not one specific season more than the other one, but it's very periodic. Sometimes it lasts longer, sometimes it lasts shorter. And the temperature right here, the winters are very cold. So the average temperature during winter and during fall, well, actually winter mostly, it's probably gonna drop. Well, not probably. It will drop down to negative level. So it's around negative 10 Celsius. And in the summer, it actually gets hot. It gets up to about 30 degrees Celsius. Next one, we have northern coniferous forests. So the average annual precipitation generally around range has a range of 30 centimeters to 70 centimeters, and then you also have periodic droughts. Okay, some of the coastal coniferous forests actually will receive a lot more water than what I just said, about 30 to 70 centimeters. Sometimes the coastal area will actually get about 300 centimeters. So it actually some of them do get a lot of rainfall, and definitely there's gonna be some ecological changes coming along with that rainfall. And winters are usually very cold. Summer might be hot, not always hot. Some area in Siberia, they have about negative 50 degrees Celsius in the winter, and then to about 20 degree Celsius in the summer. So some of them can be hot, some of them, most winter it's going to be cold, and most summer it's going to be a little bit warmer. It's not going to be hot, but it's going to be warmer. Temperate broadleaf forest. And this is kind of like a perfect shot that you see on Google. That's like, if you search for some kind of wonderful background desktop pictures, this is basically what it is. This is what it is. Temperate broadleaf forest. The precipitation here average about 70 to 200 centimeter annually. Okay, and then most of them, well, actually, the rain comes down pretty evenly throughout the entire season, the season pattern. So spring, fall, summer, winter, and for some forests that's even north. So European country, some of the European countries, some of the Asian country, and then America as well, and it's also South America. You actually have winter that will snow, and the summer that will rain. So even though it's not raining all the time, in the winter it comes in the form of snow, so it still gets rainwater as well. Well, not in the rain format, but snow. And then you have a winter temperature average about 0 Celsius, which is, that's the degree when water becomes ice. So it's pretty cold, well, very cold for most of us. And summer, you can have a maximum temperature of 75 degrees Celsius. And those temperature, 75 Celsius is actually pretty hot. And because it rains throughout the seasons, it will also get very humid as well. Last one for the land, tundra. Like the truck, tundra. Not doing commercial, but like the truck, tundra. So you have annual precipitation about 20 to 60 centimeter, and then sometimes you do get much more rain, about 100 centimeters. Winters are very cold, and with the average temperature about negative 30 Celsius. Summers are usually less than 10 degrees Celsius.